Yo, what's good? This is the second stream, guys. I was watching something here, and this shit crazy, bro. So before I finished it, I got to 8 minutes and 54 seconds on this. You guys got to see this shit. This shit here. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Why is it? This is a question that's been brought up when I'm crowdsourcing what questions you want us to ask the guests that are here today. If it's purely statistical, why are more Muslims moving to Christian nations and not Christian nations moving to Muslim nations? Why do you think that is?
It's economics, pure economics. If you look at Christians that move to Saudi and the Gulf, there's a huge influx of Christians from the Philippines, from Africa.
Now, from what research I did 2 days ago on a stream I did about, this whole Muslim and Jewish thing that's going on in Israel, in Palestine, right? When I was doing that research, I saw that Christians are the most persecuted people around the world. You could check that stream out, but they're over there cutting motherfuckers. If you're a Christian in these countries, man, they gonna tear your fucking head off, B.
From Eastern Europe that flock to the Gulf countries, Muslim countries. Why? Because of GDP, because of the economy. The influx of people of all religions and cultures to the US, to Australia, to Europe, it's purely because of economic opportunity, not because of there's some kind of better way of life. The way of life in the US, and I can talk to you because you lived 10 years in Iran, the culture of traditional societies, especially Muslim societies, is much more conducive to family. It's more of a family, community-based life as opposed to an individualistic, rat race, everyone is out for himself type of lifestyle that you live in the West. And that's because of the hegemony that we're talking about, because of liberal secularism, because of this pursuit of happiness at the expense of all else. When you have a religion that values family, marriage, look at the divorce rates. Look at how, I have 5 sons of my own. I'm very worried about, will they even be able to find a wife who will be faithful to them and who will want to have children?
So here's my thing, right? If you live in a Muslim country, how are you worried about that? You live in a Muslim country, so your sons are going to find Muslim wives, right? I mean, does that make sense? To me, it does. Okay, let's go.
Grandchildren who will be faithful. Look at the divorce rates. Look at the infidelity rates. Look at all of the social problems that are infecting Western societies. Why is that? I'd argue it's on the basis of leaving traditional Christianity, leaving traditional Islam, reforming these religions. That's the problem. Look at someone like.
So he's saying leaving traditional Christianity. So now at this point, he's saying that the nuclear system is because people aren't really based into their religion, basically. They're not based into their traditional Christian, Muslim religions, right? Okay. Don't forget I said that. Don't forget I said that. This guy is saying that they're not, that the state of the US is because they're leaving traditional Christian religion and traditional Muslim religion, right?
Like Reza Aslan, you interviewed him,
I had him
right?
on, yeah.
And you had a brilliant comment. You said that, Reza, when you're talking, I feel like you're an atheist. You're arguing, I don't think that you're actually a Muslim. Like, you're not talking like you're a Muslim. You're talking like this progressive, liberal, atheist.
So your argument is economy, capitalism, a capitalistic society. So then the question would be, why don't Muslim regions accept the principles of a capitalistic free society to be able to attract other Christians? Because when you hear some stories, but I got that. Brother Rashid, do you have a response to him on this question? Specifically, the question I'm asking, why do Christian nations attract Muslims, but Muslim nations not attract Christians?
He said economy is the first reason,
Yes.
but other reasons exist too. I have seen so many Saudi girls leaving Saudi Arabia, going to Canada and the US and the UK, asking for asylum because they don't have the same rights. And they are forced to stay as a second-class status. Women is not treated well in Muslim countries. I have seen people who are leaving Morocco and other places because they don't have freedom of speech. And if you say anything against Islam in Egypt or Morocco, or for me, for example, why I left Morocco. I love Morocco. I would love to live among my family, but I left not because of the economy. I was doing well, but because I don't have freedom of religion. And there are many countries that are like that. If you open the borders in Europe and the US, you have almost probably, I can't guess, but like probably 90% of Muslims will go to the West, not just because of money. It's because of other reasons.
Safety.
They are oppressed there. And our brothers, they have their solution to what will live is not what I am here. Of course, we have a problem in the West, but the solution they are given is worse than what we have today. For example, LGBTQ, whatever, they will kill them if we bring, let's say, let them govern with Islam today. They will throw them from a higher building. That's their punishment. I'm not with that. I'm not either this, the two extremes, either this or that. Islam is not going to give a solution. Why we have human rights in the West? Why everything we are enjoying today, it came from the West. For example, women's rights came from the West. Abolishing slavery came from the West. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion came from the West. You name it. Just give me anything. Democracies came from the West. So they want us to live under an authoritarian system, and you cannot even question it. And if you say anything against it, you will be condemned to death. For example, if I say Islam is not the right way to God, I cannot say that in a Muslim country. I will be punished for that. So we are enjoying freedom of speech, freedom of religion, democracy. We can say our opinion. We can have a podcast like that without a problem. Guess what? In Morocco, when I became a Christian, we met as Christians in closed doors. We couldn't sing. We couldn't baptize people. We couldn't name our kids Christian names. You cannot name him Luke or Mark or anything. You have to name him Muhammad and Omar and Abu Bakr. You can't name them Christian names.
This is not true.
It's true. I lived it.
It's not, in Islamic law. Okay, do you know Ahkam Ahlul Dhimma? Do you know the principles?
I'm not Ahlul Dhimma. I'm an apostate.
Yeah, you don't talk about other Christians.
Well,
Christians can name their children.
Okay,
you lived in a Muslim country.
Okay,
Could
let me
you be
finish.
named Patrick, or was that against the law?
Let me finish. I am a convert from Islam to Christianity,
That's
and
different.
I had hundreds like me, girls and boys. We were gathering. We were afraid of police. And we got arrested many times. We got interrogated.
So let me get this straight. So I want to understand what both of you are saying. So for us, I was born in a Muslim country. My name is Patrick. My sister's name is Paulette. You're saying if a Muslim converts to Christian, you can't just name your kids anything. You have to name them those specific names.
Yes.
And you're okay with that? You think that's normal?
I said something even more than that. I said that the punishment is death penalty. So forget it. That's what we talked about
at the beginning.
right?
Apostles, totally get it. So for you, it's not even your level for that is for somebody to go. But why is that?
But that's not the treatment of all Christians.
So I totally get that. But why do you believe that? Why do you believe if a Muslim becomes a Christian is the death penalty? Why do you believe that?
He said that's not the treatment of Muslims. That's the treatment of Jews. Wow. Nigga just dropped the dime on y'all niggas. See y'all Jews be over there killing Christians, be? Kill Christ, I heard. Okay, let's go. They also over there spitting on motherfuckers too. That's in one of the videos I put out too. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna play this, but I'm gonna find a video for you.
This is what I wanted to explain is that, first of all, this is found in every religion. It's found in every culture. The idea that you have to have punishments for defection, meaning that if you abandon the group, you are threatening the group. And that's why every business, every university, every society has community guidelines, for example.
Yeah.
If you violate the community guidelines, it's not called blasphemy, it's called a violation of community guidelines. You're expelled from that community, you face consequences. But it goes beyond that, because you have
My man comparing a fucking TikTok, a TikTok fucking violation, Instagram violation, fucking to them killing motherfuckers, bro.
restrictions on your speech, right? We can't look at, this YouTube channel. I can't say certain things on this live stream. Otherwise the video will be banned. Your channel will get in trouble, and then you can be prosecuted. You can face all kinds of consequences. Again, go back to your Glenn Greenwald interview, your interview with Whitney Webb. Look at the power structures that restrict speech. They restrict thought. Why? In order to preserve the power structure. Every religion has this. Traditional Christianity, that's why heretics were punished. That's why apostates were punished in Buddhism.
Let me ask a follow-up on that.
Sure,
so when you say to me, I've interviewed almost any of the major living mobsters. I've had them on the podcast before. I don't know if that's your stuff that you would watch, but I've interviewed a lot of them. Sammy DeBull, Michael Francis, a lot of these guys. Okay, so I can see you with your last name. Yeah. So when I interview these guys, one of the things that they have, and Sammy is he says, look, I'm a mafioso. I'm a true mafioso is what I am. Till today, he's in his late 70s. He still says that, right? If you step away from the life, you could get killed if you step away from the life, right? Okay, you chose this life. You celebrated when you become a made man. Now you want to leave? You got the benefits of being a made man. Now you want to leave? We're going to take your life, if based on the principles that they followed. But that's the mafia. For somebody that may say, well, then Islam is Islam following some of the mafia philosophies that if you choose to leave, you deserve to lose your life? Don't you think that's a bit extreme?
I would say the problem with the mafia is criminal activity. It's not with this principle. This is a good principle. That's why they're able to be so organized.
Yo, this nigga's crazy. This guy is really up here saying, if you change your religion, that you should be killed, that it's okay to kill you. Let me rewind that. We gotta rewind that. We got the power of rewind around this motherfucker. Hold on. This nigga's bugging, bro.
Philosophies that if you choose to leave, you deserve to lose your life. Don't you think that's a bit extreme?
I would say the problem with the mafia is criminal activity. It's not with this principle. This is a good principle. That's why.
Yo. Oh shit. They like a gang. Blood in, blood out. Like, that's crazy, bro. That's not right. See, at this point, this looks like not Allah. This is man. That's man. That's man shit right there. That's not from God, Allah. Like, yo, if they leave the religion, kill them, right? That's some man shit. That's crazy. Yo, this nigga's crazy.
They're able to be so organized. That's why they're able to be so successful.
That's the argument.
And you have nations that are run in the same way. You have to preserve the nation by punishing defection because it threatens the unity of the group. It threatens the way of life.
That's tough, though, man. But
that's the law. That's what exists.
I totally understand that. All I'm saying is that's tough because, okay, so let me get to more the business side, the next side.
Let me just add a little bit to it.
Go for it.
I will be killed, my kids will be taken, and my wife will be taken. Just to add to the list in an Islamic system.
Let me continue with this. Let me continue with this a little bit because this is getting interesting to me. So if in insurance, there's two ways to build, or real estate, there's two ways guys build their real estate and their insurance companies. Let me explain this and you'll see where I'm going with this question. One is there's guys that steal from other people, okay? And they'll say, oh, you train those guys, I'll take your agents. You train those guys, I'll take your agents. You're getting 60%, I'll give you 80% if you come to my company. So their entire business model is to take from others, right? And then they're always capped because somebody else is not going to come and say, he gave you 80, I'll give you 100. And then so now they go to a different guy. And then the other guy will say, he gave you 100, I'll give you 110. Then they'll realize there's only 130. So how much more is left to do? I'll give you 115 if you come to me 5 more. Okay, I'll come to you. And then eventually you're stuck. You're not going to go anywhere, right? Okay. So these agencies are not baptism agencies. They're converting agencies. I'll convert you to me by me giving you a better life or better heaven or better, dream that I'm selling to you, right? For me, the way I see it is and then the other side is guys that recruit people from other industries and they make them realtors. So I'm working at Sears. You should consider getting a real estate license. I convert you. You're a nurse. You should think about being a realtor. I become a realtor. So you understand the two examples I'm giving. I'm recruiting other realtors. I'm converting somebody into being a realtor. Hence, religion, Muslim. I'm targeting Christians to convert them. No, I'm converting people that are, becoming Muslims or just we're having more kids and that's how we're going to grow a religion. Okay. So the criticism and fear that a lot of Christians will say, non-Muslims will say is, if we go the way we do right now, one day Muslims are going to run the world. Do you not fear that? And you'll hear that. Okay. And by the way, it's a fair argument because right now the number is, give or take, the Muslim population worldwide, I think is around 1.7 billion. And it's expected by 2060 to grow by 74% to 3.1 billion. Today, they're 24.1% of the world population. By 2060, you'll be 31.1%. These are some real numbers that they're increasing. And Christians will say, well, are you not worried about that? Are you not worried about that? Are you not worried about that? Okay. So then my argument becomes, because I'm a data guy, Muslim women have 2.9 kids per woman. Christians are around 2.5, 2.6. Non-Muslims are 2.2. And the replacement game, you need to have 2.1.
Yeah.
So 2.1 is a replacement game. 2.2 is non-Muslims. Christians are 2.6, and then you have Muslims eating away 2.9. By the way, in the 90s, you were at 4.3, 4.5. In 1990, 1995, 30 years ago, you were at 4.5, 4.3. So where am I going with this? So where I'm going with this is if this goes the way it does, and they do what they do, it is very natural that the Senate, that Congress, that House, that governors are going to be ran by Muslims. Right now, you have 3 that are there. You mentioned the names earlier. There used to be 1 in the past. That's 4. But we had 82 in the midterm election who are Muslims that got elected to city, state, different kind of jobs that they had record-breaking ever, right? So if I don't look at it from the faith standpoint, if I don't look at it from the religion standpoint, if I don't look at it from the argument of who's right, who's wrong, Muhammad, Jesus, if I don't look at it from there, I would simply say their strategy of growing is kicking Christians' tail. So then Christians can either sit there and complain about it or they can do something about it. But Christians don't want to have that many kids. Christians are not having 4, 5, 6 kids. He has 5. You said you have 5 sons? 5 sons? Okay, he's got 5 sons. I don't know how many of you have 5 sons at this table. I got 2 and 2 girls. 5 sons is going to be the rest of us, right? If he's going to keep having these kids. So what is your solution as a Christian? And I'm purely talking business right now. The business of religion is what I'm talking right now. According to the business of religion, they're going to win. And there's nothing Christians can do about it. By the business, you can sit and argue the faith all you want. They're getting their people and their kids baptized because their job isn't recruiting Christians to become Muslims. They've only converted 20,000. That's not a lot. It's not a big number. But they're getting more kids and they're raising their kids with the loyalty to the parents and they're following that faith and they're growing bigger and we're not doing that. What are your thoughts to that?
Well, if you're asking me what the solution is, obviously Christians have to recover a sense of their faith and a sense of what's at stake. Because what you're talking about will happen if this continues is that the United States will look.
Listen, my thing is, it wouldn't even be a problem if you could just continue to be alive and practice your own religion. I don't see what the big deal about religion is. There's only one God who created everything and everyone the same. The water is the same over in a Muslim country as it is over in a Christian country. The people who live there, their bodies consist of the same exact thing. Like my blood isn't better than yours. My bones aren't better than yours. You know, we just speak different languages and we have a different culture, a different way of living. So why should you be allowed to kill somebody because of who they pray to or because of how they pray? I'm sure everyone's religion says be a good person, right? I'm sure everyone's religion says do not kill, right? I'm sure everyone's religion, basically is telling you, yo, just be a good guy, pray, uh, feed the homeless, whatever the fuck, right? So if we're all doing good and good is in everyone's religion, why the fuck are we out here killing people? Like these Muslims and the Muslim and Jew shit that's going on, these motherfuckers, they're no better than the fucking hood niggas in fucking South Central and fucking Brownsville and whatever low income area that has high gang violence. Chicago, y'all are no better than them. Bloods and Crips versus Muslims and Christians. It's like the same shit, bro. Like you have all of these values of family. You got these values of this and that, but you guys are willing to kill motherfuckers because of what they're repping. Like you guys are not smart.
Like Egypt or Saudi Arabia or Iran, those were not always the heart of the Islamic world. Those were conquered and Islamized. And the Christians were, like Rashid was saying, made second class, made subject to all kinds of humiliating and discriminatory regulations, and had to pay a special tax that's specified in the Quran, chapter 9, verse 29. And they ultimately, most of them in those areas and in North Africa, other areas like that, many of them thought, why am I suffering this and having to live in this way? All I have to do is convert to Islam and I can live a decent life. And most of them did. And so you have areas that were 99% Christian and now they're 99% Muslim. And so people don't realize, they look at Egypt and they say, well, that's the Islamic world. They don't realize that these things are always in flux and that exactly what happened there is beginning to happen in the West. And so I think that if Christians were to come to realize what's at stake, which would be extraordinarily difficult given the amount of propaganda and falsehood that's spread about these issues in the mainstream, then they might begin to realize that they need to take
What's the solution, though? What's the next steps? What is the solution from your standpoint?
They have to have larger families, certainly, and have to meet the dawah, the proselytizing initiatives, and be able to answer all the objections, to show the inhumane aspects
but
of
Christians
Islam.
are not that united. These guys are
Right,
united.
exactly.
So Christians are competing against each other. Muslims are more united.
No, I disagree to that. We have Shia, we have Sunni. They are fighting each other.
I
They're
agree.
killing each other.
Fair enough, yes.
And so they are not really united. And if you go to Salafis, they will make the Sufis as mushriks.
But would you agree that Sunnis and Shias are united at least in the values?
No,
Not necessarily because, the cousin or, that's the history part where who got the passed down. I'm talking purely values and philosophies.
You know what? Muslims will claim we are 1.7, and when you ask them details, they will be Ahmadis are not Muslims, Shia are not Muslims, and you will find just the guy in his mosque at the end instead of 1.7. I lived that. When you really scrutinize them, you will find just the guy in his mosque. They are the ones. Actually, Muhammad said his people will divide to 73 groups. And one of them only go to heaven. So 72 of them, they're just like kuffar. They are not really Muslims. So let's go back to that. Replacement rate, for example, in some countries like Iran is below 2.1. In Turkey, it's below 2.1. In others, they are below that. So there is a huge drop. For example, in Morocco, I think it was like 6.9, and now it's like 2.8 or 2.7. So next generation will be below replacement rate. So they will suffer also from
you believe that? So you believe their numbers is going to go below the Christian replacement?
I will believe they will drop because we have so many challenges, economy, so many other things. And another thing, they don't count how many people are leaving Islam. We don't have statistics. I have statistics, for example, of people who write to me, according just to my show, from Morocco, from Algeria, from Iran, for example. So many people are leaving to atheism, to Christianity, to other worldviews. In Egypt, in Saudi Arabia, so they don't count that. I still count it as a Muslim in the 1.7.
Yep.
And many people like me. So if they give freedom and we do real surveys, we will have the number less. Another thing, what Islam is left? The West forced Muslims to abolish slavery, to not practice the real Islam, like amputing hands and feet and crucifying. They are now forcing them to have one wife. So Islam, the version of Islam in the Muslim world is not really what they are preaching. So what Muslims do we have? According to their standards, probably most of them are kafir.
And not only that, it's because of the death penalty for apostasy that this is unreported. But also there was a survey, and people did answer the anonymous survey recently in Iran. Only 40% of the population identified as Muslim. Now that's extraordinary, and it shows how inhumane Sharia Islamic law
Who
is.
ran that poll? Who?
I don't remember who ran it, but it's easy to find. We can look it up
Rob,
here.
can you look it up?
1979 to now,
Got it,
we've
right
had
there.
Islamic law in Iran, and now 60% of Iranians have rejected Islam. That's because they've lived it since 1979, and they realize how much they don't like it.
Yeah, I just want to comment because they're talking a lot about the supposed disunity amongst Muslims, as if you don't have that in Christianity, right?
Oh, yeah, you do.
You do, right? So, Rashid, I know that Robert here is Eastern Orthodox. He used to be Catholic. What denomination or sect of Christianity do you belong to?
Because we are converts in Morocco, we don't follow anything. We just follow
I'm saying,
the
like, do
gospel.
you go to a specific church?
I went to many. Orthodox, Protestant, I don't care.
Okay, so anyway, my point is you have the three main sects in Christianity, the Protestants, the Catholics, the Eastern Orthodox. Historically, they fought with each other over very, what from the outside people would think, well, why are they fighting over this? I mean, today, the Orthodox and Catholics are fighting over doctrines like the filioque, whether or not the Holy Spirit proceeds forth from the Father and the Son, or the Father alone eternally. And they're completely divided on this, and call each other heretics and all kinds of stuff. So to act as if, right, there's this division among Sunnis and Shia, when, as I think Patrick rightly pointed out, we have much more in common in terms of our actual values. We differ in terms of certain historical doctrines, but that's another story. On the other hand, you have so many different sects within Christianity, so many different denominations, all of them disagree and consider each other to be heretics. So for you to make that accusation and critique of Islam, I just don't think is correct. It opens up.
Look at the history of the Catholics versus Protestants in Europe. Over 5 million killed in the wake of the Protestant Reformation. So, I mean, that's that applies to Christianity more than Islam. But going back to Patrick's point is that you want to grow your numbers and grow the Christian population. I want to help Christians grow, because I think a world that has more Christians is better than a world that has more atheists. But how can you have more Christians?
For anybody who's curious, I was curious, I had to look it up. What a heretic is, a person believing or practicing religious hearsay, a person holding an opinion at odds with what is generally accepted. So you could call them a heretic, but it's not an insult, bro. It's not like you calling somebody a bitch ass nigga or a fucking a traitor or something. It's not that. Like, they're putting so much emphasis on just like calling somebody, something, and that's not even a bad fucking. You just have a different opinion, bro. You just have a different opinion. These motherfuckers want to fight and kill each other over opinions, bro. Is it because, we're born over here, in the West, we're born in the United States. So we're like, all right, you got a different opinion. She has a different opinion. Cool. We can even be friends with motherfuckers who have different opinions on things. So what? That's just your opinion, bro. Like this shit seems like it's just too controlling. I could see why they have people leaving this religion, man. And and this is a prime example. This is a prime example of why a lot of people don't go to church or aren't heavy into their religion, because it's so constricting. It's so defensive. Like what the fuck, man?
When you don't really believe in the Bible. We have the seeds of the destruction of Christianity right in this podcast, because when you look at the way that Robert and Rashid describe the Bible, they describe it as a book of fables, and it can continue to evolve.
I didn't say that.
This is going to cause apostasy. This is going to cause a decrease in faith. Like, why should I take Christianity seriously when it just evolves and it changes over time? I can't connect my practices and my beliefs as a Christian today with the historical Jesus. So why am I going to maintain myself as a Christian? And then also the whole theology, which we haven't discussed at all today. Like,
the 95%.
Monotheism is 80 to 90% of the world believes in monotheism, in one God. And monotheism is a central, crucial, the most important part of Islam, the belief in one God without partners. He is not like anything. This is a very powerful belief that 80 to 90% of human beings profess in this day and age. And Islam represents that in its theology and emphasizes that in its theology. But if you have a Trinity, or you have...
Bro, this shit is crazy. But if you have a Trinity, keep going.
A theology that is not really clear. Is Jesus God? Is there a God?
What do you mean it's not clear? We all know Jesus is not God, bro. What are you talking about? See, here's the part where he's losing his bearing and he's just trying to throw shit, because he's saying shit that I'm sure he knows isn't fucking true. I'm sure he read the Bible, bro. I'm sure he's well versed. Any other guy well versed in what Christianity is about and what they believe in. Because we all know God is God. Jesus isn't God. That's his son. That's God's son. And he says the only way to God is through me. If I don't know your name, if Jesus doesn't know your name, then God ain't going to know your name. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, then you won't be able to get to God. Like, everybody knows that, bro. Like this is like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Godhead? Is there this other system? Do we go by the Catholics, or do we go by the Orthodox? Do we go by the Protestants? You don't have a consistent theology. Sunnis and Shias, they all agree on monotheism. God is one. He is not like anything. They agree on the Quran. Yeah, there can be some theological differences and nuances between different schools, but there's not the same kind of disparity or variance between Christian sects and this idea of the Trinity, which frankly no one can understand. Like, what does it mean to be three in one?
Let me respond to that. Let me respond to that.
I also.
My brother is mentioning divisions between Catholics and Protestants. If I go back, there are divisions among the follower, the disciples of Muhammad, the Sahaba themselves. They killed each other. You know that the wife of Muhammad went and killed the followers of Ali in Mawqi'at al-Jamal.
Oh shit, nigga. Ah shit, you can't go pulling a fast one on. See, I don't know their religion. But he does. And he's calling him out on all this shit. Well, you saying this about Christians, nigga? We did the same shit. The same shit you talking about him, we did. Yeah. This is good.
Well, thousands died among the first disciples. This didn't happen between Peter and John, by the way. And so if you go to Islam, from the beginning, they fought each other. And they had divisions from the beginning. You know that, for example, the fight over the Quran was created or eternal. They fought over that. And actually, one time they had the whole caliphate going one way. The other time, they killed people who believed that. So you're trying just to give give a fake picture. There are divisions, there are killings among Muslims all through history, from the beginning, from the start, which didn't happen within Christianity, by the way.
And Peter and James.
Oh, they didn't kill each other. They didn't kill each other.
Because they didn't have political authority.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Were they fighting each other?
Who killed?
Who the fuck needs political authority to kill somebody, bro? What? Are we on the same fucking planet? What the what?
No.
Who killed Ottoman, for example? Who killed
Peter and James? Were they at war? Were they fighting?
They were not fighting, okay?
They weren't?
Fight is to take an army against another one. Aisha took an army and killed people.
If you don't have an army, you don't have political power.
You
completely destroys the point.
You lost your argument. You're trying to make a false analogy here. You lost your argument. This is not an analogy.
You're not gonna win over any Christians by constructing these straw man arguments that completely misrepresent what I was saying.
I would say this, but if I may, and I want to hear your thought, just a quick rebuttal here. My point earlier is I don't think they're trying to convert. Because I
Christians?
think, hear me out.
Oh, sure they are.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are, but I don't think that's where they rely on. The earlier point I made, their strategy on outgrowing Christians is to internally raise kids from the beginning rather than converting.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way they're going to be, able to do what they want to do. So if you want to respond, go right ahead.
Well, they are obviously converting Christians because...
Yeah, they ain't talking about that. They talking about killing motherfuckers. That's what they talking about.
Jake is here, but the fact is
20,000.
Islam is not really that attractive a message, and so there aren't many people who are converts. Most of the people, like you're saying, the reason why it's growing is because of polygamy and because the women have many, many more children than women in the West do. But in any case, the points that I was making you're completely misrepresenting and running with your misunderstanding and claiming I said things I never said. The point that I was making was that the Old Testament and the New Testament, as I said before, are records of an evolving understanding among the people of God. And that because of that evolving understanding, they came to realize that these things had no applicability for all people for all time. The idea that the Old Testament is not applicable for Christians is in the New Testament itself. That's actually a large preoccupation of the New Testament, that they are free, the Christians are free from the law. And so you bring up these Old Testament examples, the big difficulty you have is that nobody in the Christian world is thinking this is marching orders for today, whereas people read the Quran, unfortunately, they do think that when it says kill them wherever you find them, when you meet the unbelievers, strike the neck, and so on and so on. They do believe that these things are marching orders for today because the Quran does not have these different stages of development. But this doesn't mean in Christianity that just anything goes. In Catholicism and Orthodoxy, you have the apostolic succession and the authority of the bishops who can authoritatively interpret the scriptures and set the doctrines. And those doctrines have been consistent from the beginning. It's not as if it's some free-for-all.
Patrick,
excuse me, you're interrupting once again, and I never interrupted you.
No, I'm asking a permission.
Just a second.
Okay.
In Protestantism, you also have the at least ostensibly a fidelity to the scripture, so that you can't just say anything goes and we're going to become LGBTQ now legitimately. Now, there are people who are doing this, and they are mostly in the Protestant purview because they don't have this authority that establishes various understandings of whether homosexuality is sinful or not, and so on, and so they can reinterpret these things, and that is a big problem. Nobody is interested in hiding any problems, but when you set up these straw man arguments and say, oh, Spencer said the Bible's fables and anything goes, you're just lying.
I never said that.
Okay.
Oh, you did.
I have a comment about statistics. Pew Research Center say Islam gains about as many converts as it loses in the U.S. So 0 at the end. So even the 20,000, you can just cancel them. Another thing, Elias Bayunis, he said that 75% of new Muslim converts, they leave Islam after that. So not many, 75% is a huge number. They go back because they find, usually they are fascinated with Middle Eastern, non-white religion. And yeah, it's fascinating. Our brother is wearing even the Moroccan jalaba. He likes
You like it, right?
Yeah, it's not Muslim, by the way, it's Berber. So you just think, because they're fascinated with these things and they think that's Islam.
They don't like
when they
this
start
motherfucker
digging
eating
in,
out too much.
I didn't agree to killing apostates. I didn't know that Muhammad ordered that.
Well, Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate specifically cited that Muslims stand for their principles. That's why he converted, right?
Yeah,
Andrew Tate.
I'm glad he converted to Islam, so take him. I want to say something about Muslims converting to Islam. Then you find out little by little things that you didn't agree at the beginning. Every product comes with a warranty, except Islam doesn't come with a warranty. If you don't like it, your head is going to go. So that's why it's not an appealing religion, and people would start rejecting it after they finding these little details inside.
I want to give them an opportunity to respond, and then we can go to the next issue.
Yeah, I'd like to respond because Robert brought up apostolic succession and claims that these doctrines have been held, since the beginning of Jesus. Jesus proclaimed his message to the apostles, and they passed it on to early church fathers, and then all the way down the line, and it's been this consistent message throughout. But on very core doctrines, which Daniel and I would actually like to spend more time on what he called the 95%, which is actually monotheism. Unfortunately, we believe that Christians, Trinitarian Christians, are representing a veiled form of polytheism. And you claim that this was the consistent message over time. Well, let's see what Justin Martyr, your own saint, says. He's in the beginning of the 2nd century. He was born in the year 100. In his famous dialogue with Trypho, chapter 56, he says this. Let's see if his theology is the same as yours, Robert. I shall attempt to persuade you, since you have understood the scriptures, of the truth of what I say, that there is, and that there is said to be, another God and Lord, subject to the maker of all things, who is also called an angel, because he announces to men whatsoever the maker of all things, above whom there is no other God, wishes to announce them. So Justin Martyr says that Jesus is a second God, is another God, separate and distinct, and he is a lesser divinity. Now, John Baer, who I'm sure you would know is a famous Eastern Orthodox authority today, he comments on this passage, and he says this: as it is not God himself who thus appeared and spoke with man, the word of God who did all of these things, for Justin, quote, another God and Lord besides the maker of all, who is also called his angel, as he brings messages from the maker of all, above whom there is no other God. Then he says about this passage, the divinity of Jesus Christ, another God, is no longer that of the Father himself, but subordinate to it a lesser divinity. Now, that's just one example. Justin Martyr, who you would consider a saint, you may even pray to, as the Eastern Orthodox pray to dead saints, but the reality is that your theology, according to you, on the Trinity is actually more correct than the person that you're praying to. And I can go through a whole more list on key doctrines, like the doctrine of the incarnation, the atonement, and the Trinity itself, that the early church authorities like Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Tertullian, and on.
Yeah, he fucking rambling now. Yo, listen, look at this. Look at this shit, bro. God damn it, come on. Hold on, look at this shit. If Andrew Tate tries to become Muslim or parades himself around as Muslims and gets accepted, I'm leaving Islam. Wallah, I'll abandon Islam in this dunya altogether. Muslims are honestly the most mentally ill, subservient idiots on earth. And when Allah asks why, I'll tell him. Holy shit! Hold on. Pause. Hold up, Papa. Hold up.
MashaAllah. You can see this from this comment. A person has accepted Islam because of Andrew Tate. MashaAllah. And this is exactly why we get excited when influential people accept Islam. You might be thinking, whoa, 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 but that's the thing, mate. Islam don't need these people, mate. I agree with you. Islam don't need these people. I heard you the first time. But these people need Islam. I 100% agree with you. But there's a reason why the Prophet ﷺ would send letters to the leaders, because those are the people of influence. I think I've made that point now. Now here's another comment of this sister, and she says, if Andrew Tate accepts Islam, I'm gonna leave, or then I don't want to be part of this faith. And subhanallah, I mean, what is going on? There are ulama that hold the opinion that if a person plans to leave Islam, they have left Islam. And look, I get it, you have issues with Andrew Tate, but there were people that were far worse. And Allah told His prophets to go and give them da'wah, namely Fir'aun. And Allah told Musa alayhi salam, when he was going to give da'wah to Fir'aun, be gentle, be gentle. Subhanallah, this is somebody who said, Ana Rabbukumul A'la, I am your Lord Most High. And subhanallah, Allah is telling Musa alayhi salam to speak to him with respect. And here there are people saying, no mate, no Andrew Tate, what's this? What's this, mate? Subhanallah, you and me don't decide who gets guidance. This blows my mind. Some people feel that they have a monopoly over the religion. Alhamdulillah, it's not up to us. Because there were people that were fervently against Islam, like Umar radiallahu an. Yet Allah blessed him with Islam. There's a quote I've heard that scholars say that people would say that it's more likely that the donkey of Umar radiallahu an accepts Islam than he does. And he did accept Islam.
Bro, listen. Listen. Okay. When you guys put all of the Allah, all that in there, it sounds like you speak another language. And we trying to understand you, bro. Like you're speaking English, but when you throw all of that extra stuff on it, man, it makes it hard to understand what you're saying, man. Like, what the? Come on, bro.
And subhanallah, when he accepted Islam, the Muslims were overjoyed because Islam had become strengthened. Now, I'm not saying that Andrew Tate is bringing, your 100% good things. Yes, of course, he holds some views that can be challenged and that can be guided and nurtured. And who's going to do the guiding and nurturing? Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. We're told in Salah. We're told in Salah that Allah guide us. 5 times a day, we say, Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. As believers. So don't you think somebody like Andrew Tate also needs guidance as well? And why do we think that, oh no, it's only the good people, it's only the great people, it's only this or that? No. Islam is for everybody, it's come for all of mankind. Some people are saying, yeah, but he's a scam artist and he does this and does that. Look, we're not blind people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the Quran and the Sunnah, and if he's going against that, of course, we can call him out on that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he has some magic wand Expelliarmus flex. He's not going to be able to do that. So we can notice if he's trying to scam us or whatnot. But he's accepted Islam, and we wish him the best. And those people that are posting silly comments like, oh, if a trans accepted Islam or a homosexual did, would you be willing to forgive them? And no. If a person accepts Islam, their slate is wiped clean. And yes, anybody, trans, gay, whatever you want to call it, if you've accepted Islam, you've accepted.
Stop it, shawty. Stop it, 5. The fuck out of here. Show me one trans Muslim. Just one. Show me one trans Muslim. Show me a gay Muslim. Not even trans. Show me a gay Muslim that's still alive. Stop playing.
Accepted Islam. Who are we to say, no, not you, mate. We are not allowed to do that. Let me make this very clear. We cannot tell somebody, don't come.
So you got one Muslim guy saying, oh, if you leave Islam, we're going to kill you. and that's okay. And then you got another dude saying that they will accept gays and trans into Islam because it's not for them to decide. It's a contradiction, bro.
To Islam. How dare you? How dare you think that you have this authority to do so? So alhamdulillah, the people are coming to Islam and we're seeing this, and alhamdulillah, the dead wood is going. This person saying, yeah, if Andrew comes, I'm leaving the religion. I'm sorry, which clause of your aqidah and your belief said that belief in God is predicated on Andrew Tate not accepting Islam? What is this? No, you know what? This shows how pathetic and weak your faith actually is. It's not predicated on the fact that Allah is one and Muhammad, peace be upon him. You know, it's not predicated on the fact that Allah is the only one worthy of worship and Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the final messenger of Allah. It's not predicated on this fact. It's predicated on society, on people. So, are you...
Nah, bro. I ain't gonna front. I was looking at Islam. I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I like how they defend their religion. Like everybody play with Christianity all the time, and nothing happened to them niggas. You feel me? Islam, people don't play with Islam, right? And I like that. But they wildin', bro. They're like, nah.
On and on up until the 4th century, never preached the doctrine of the Trinity, sir. So when you make the claim that your message has been consistent without, what we see in the very beginnings on the fundamental point of who God is, you did not have the same doctrine. It took to get to the 4th century, and that's why Christianity, because at its very beginning was very comfortable with development. Oh, who is God? Is a man God? Is he God and man at the same time? So if you can have those sorts of developments, of course you can have developments about how laws are applied and whether or not we should be celebrating LGBTQ and all of that. That's your history, sir.
Not at all. Actually, no. The difference is that when it comes to LGBTQ, it's very clear that homosexuality is immoral and that this is the consistent teaching of all the Christian groups up until quite recently. And so,
bruh, see, I believe in God, definitely. I believe in Jesus Christ, right? I don't go to church because I see a lot of contradiction and a lot of fuckery in there, man. But I'm going to tell you, there are some gay ass pastors who are openly gay to the congregation and they accept them. When in the book that this dude is preaching, it clearly states homosexuality is a no-no. So how can they, like, bro, I don't fucking, like, come on, man, cut the shit. Both of y'all cut the shit.
So the ones that have changed that have departed from the faith. And you cannot have a development that contradicts what went before. The developments happen harmoniously. At the beginning of the church, there was a great deal of difficulty in understanding exactly how it was that God had become man. And so you have people trying to formulate it. And Justin Martyr tries to formulate it, and he does so erroneously. You have some assumption, probably coming from Islam, that the saints are infallible, and actually that's not the case. And so you want to quote me fathers of the church from before Nicaea all you want. The fact is that the Trinity was formulated at the Council of Nicaea in 325, and there isn't anything that was taught by the authorities in the church. Justin Martyr was a great saint, but he was not one who was formulating the doctrine and charged with the responsibility to give us what the teaching of the Christian faith is. The Ecumenical Council had that authority, and they formulated it in this way. Now, does this mean that Justin Martyr is a heretic? No, because he comes before that. This
Was he wrong?
No, because yeah, he was wrong. Yeah, absolutely.
So when he said he's another God, he was wrong.
There's only one God.
Right.
We
You said
are
there's
actually
another God, a
monotheists.
lesser
I know that
divinity.
that Islam teaches that everybody else is a polytheist.
I think you are
Well, we're not. And so Justin Martyr was wrong about that.
I'd be happy to speak
and
about
this
that next
just
time.
doesn't pose a problem for Christianity.
It does, because as you said, the doctrine of the Trinity doesn't come until the 4th century. So why?
No, there were people teaching it from the beginning. Justin Martyr
Robert,
wasn't
I let
one.
you talk. You're interrupting me now. Listen, as I said, you just said that the doctrine of the Trinity.
Oh shit, bro. I listen. I just had to look it up when he said God became man. I'm like, God became man. Just had to look it up, right? It says, as man, Jesus can take our sin upon himself. Okay. As God, he can cancel our indefinite debt. God became man out of love to save us from sins. The memory verse, John 1:14, is arguably the Bible's greatest verse about the incarnation. The Word, God the Son, became flesh, human, in parentheses. The Word, God the Son, became flesh and took up residence among us. Does the Bible say Jesus is God in human form? Think of it. God became a man, and that man was Jesus Christ. As the Bible says, God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him. Okay, so I think they meant to put a ly on the end of that. Godly. So if you say Jesus can take our sin upon himself as God, he can cancel out our infinite debt. God became man out of love, right? The Word God and the Son became flesh, human, and took up residence. Shit. Shit's confusing as a motherfucker. But I'm thinking that he became so holy. I don't know, man. It's confusing, Pop. It's confusing.
Came about and was established at the Council of Nicaea in the 4th century in the year 325. We can talk about it another time because we would actually like to talk about theology. We want to talk about that 95%. So maybe we can do that another time. But the point is, and I challenge you, and I will be happy to debate this another time, that in the first 300 years of the church, you do not have a single church father, whether it be Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, if you want to go to Tertullian, although some people think he's just a church writer, down through the line up until the 4th century, they did not teach the doctrine of the Trinity, and I will defend that position anytime, any place.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.
We need to raise additional capital in order to maintain Nightscope's growth trajectory with our unique combination of...
Man, fuck that shit. Yo, I want to show you something. Yeah, that's just crazy, bro. It's a lot. It's a lot, bro. It's a lot, man. Not even a lot. It's too much, man. So this is from today, right, in Chicago. All right.
With a horrific knife attack in Will County, leaving a 6-year-old dead.
Police are now calling it a hate crime, and it's being condemned by the White House. Fox 32's Nate Rogers is live in Plainfield tonight. Nate?
Yeah, that's right, Dane and Nellie. Truly a tough story to report on.
Oh, man,
Relatives
beard is
tell
wavy.
us that the mother and son have only lived in this home for about 2 years or so. No issues at all with the landlord whatsoever, they tell us. The landlord being the suspect in this case. We're told by relatives and neighbors that the landlord would even buy the kid toys from time to time. A warning to our viewers, the details ahead are indeed disturbing.
He knocked on the door and that he attempted to choke her and said, "You Muslims must die."
71-year-old Joseph Shuba now facing first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and 2 counts of hate crime charges.
She texted this information to the father.
Police say Shuba stabbed a 32-year-old Palestinian mother more than a dozen times. She ran into a bathroom to call for help, came out and found her 6-year-old son, Wadea Alfayume, wounded beyond belief.
This young boy was stabbed 26 times. The 12-inch knife was still in his body when he was taken for an autopsy.
The heinous attack happened at this home along Lincoln Highway in unincorporated Plainfield Saturday morning. Neighbors described Shuba as patriotic but also a junk collector. They let us borrow this ladder so we can see overhead into the yard so we wouldn't let us borrow patriotic, but neighbors described Shuba as Plainfield Saturday morning. Neighbors in unincorporated Plainfield.
What is this?
Saturday morning. Neighbors described Shuba as patriotic but also a junk collector. They let us borrow this ladder so we can see overhead into the yard so we wouldn't trespass into the property. You see what appears to be several marijuana plants. They say he was an avid weed smoker. Also, the tree house that police say the suspect built for the victim. No warning signs. You've never had any bad interactions with your neighbor?
No, with Joe, no.
Shuba's neighbor didn't want her face shown, but described him as friendly, one who'd help out with projects around the house. The neighbor unfortunately witnessed police carrying the bloodied 6-year-old outside.
It's really hard to watch this because the police try to rescue the body.
Our prayers go out to the family of that little boy and to all of the families that have lost their kids and loved ones. Once again, I'm going to say it, man. If you got a problem with what's going on in Israel, get your ass on a plane and go to fucking Israel. Get out of our streets, protesting, fighting, killing kids and women. Take your punk ass over to fucking Israel and pick up a fucking weapon. I told you, I'm an advocate of violence. Violence gets shit done. But masculinity stands up in the face of stupidity, man. You doing stupid shit, bro. Like, you went to kill a woman and her kid. Couldn't get the woman, so you killed her kid. Like, you don't get no points for that, fam. Like, you know, these guys, I just really hate. I really just hate, man. I just really hate. Oh, why? I just hate how people don't use. Sorry, I'm looking at some shit on the screen. I just really hate how people I think it's okay to hurt kids. Like, how are you really gonna get in if your end goal, your end game is to get in heaven, right? To be godly, to be close to God. How are you expecting to get that? By killing kids, bro. Kids, the elderly, women, innocent man. How you expect to go there? Like, I know for a fact we on borrowed time. Because when I think about it, if I was God or a God and I was over a fucking planet, nigga, I would have shook this shit like a snow globe. Cause you niggas are out of line and disrespectful, bro. You know, shit just crazy, bro. It's just, that's why I don't really bother with religion too much, man. Cause these motherfuckers are just too religious, bro. It's not hard, bro. And Christianity, I'm finding out new stuff about it every day. But listen, man, if it's only 10 commandments, bro, it's only 10 commandments, bro. Can you at least live by that? Don't kill. Don't steal. Don't covet thy neighbor's wife. You know, I don't really know the rest. I gotta brush up on it. But, you know, it's only 10, bro. Like, what the fuck? You niggas is going to other people's territory, killing them. You niggas is killing motherfuckers because they're leaving your religion. Man, I'm about done with this shit, man. And the crazy part, bro, everybody's wrong. Everybody's wrong. Muslims are wrong. Christians are wrong. Jews are wrong. Everybody. Hindus are wrong. Whatever fucking religion you got, guess what? It's wrong. Everybody has an idea of what's going on, but don't know. Now, how can I come to that conclusion? Because there's only one God, but everybody got a different fucking interpretation of him. You won't find out what is really right until the end. So take that and just know, you know what? It's not, we really ain't gonna find out what's right until the end, but at least we could live by these certain commandments. We could do our best. But nah. Y'all niggas. Yo, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you for all the followers, man. I really hope you guys was able to stay and watch the joint. You know, if you're interested in religion. I don't know what I'm gonna entitle this yet. But I really hope you enjoy it. All right, later.